Louis Rees-Zammit was released from the Kansas City Chiefs today. In this video, I'm going to go over my initial thoughts. I'm going to go over what the waiver process means and the next step for him. I'm going to look at his highlights from the Bears game, go into his overall stats for the preseason, how he did for the season, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts. Let's go. So Louis Rees-Zammit just got released from the Kansas City Chiefs today. He failed to make the 53-man roster and now goes into the process of waivers and free agency. And being transparent, I understand football, but the business of the NFL, I don't completely understand all of the inner workings of the business of the NFL and how things go with the intricacies of that. So if you know any of that, feel free to drop in the comments below. But I just have to say that, man, it's amazing to see what he accomplished in my respect, and I'm going to set the table for this video. So when I'm doing analysis and looking at Louis Rees-Zammit, I take it for exactly what it is: a rugby player coming over to the game of American football, a game he has never played in his entire life, and putting it all out on the line. So when I'm looking at his film, I'm not judging him as a lifelong football player and critiquing based off of that skill set. I'm looking at him as a brand new, fresh individual coming to the game, playing against world-class athletes who have played this game their entire life, and then testing his skill. That's such an impossible and massive mountain to climb, and I just have so much respect, and I'm so inspired by his story, really, because if I'm looking at the path that Louis Rees-Zammit took, and I'm looking at it myself, it's crazy because I owe a lot of the success to this channel based off of the one video I did early this year in January where Louis Rees-Zammit made the decision to leave rugby to come over to play American football. And that video just happened to take off and led us on the path we are now on, where QSN is in the world of rugby. He took the journey from rugby to American football, and he did it from the athletic standpoint. And I took the journey from American football into rugby as an analysis and education standpoint. So a lot of our interests are similar in that path that we go. So I've been rooting and cheering for him since that, because I feel like the similarities are aligned in a sense on when the channel took off and when he made his decision. And so I've been, really wanting to see him do really well in the NFL. And what my parents taught me as a kid was that no matter how much you root against somebody in life, they're going to win with or without you. So you either get on the boat and support them, or you leave them alone. And that is a lesson that stuck with me through my entire life, and that's something that I carry with me. So I look at these stories, and I always do my best to come at it from a positive standpoint, looking at the highlights, because it's so easy in the world today to look at somebody and tear them down and say, oh, you failed, laugh at them, and sit behind the keyboard and computer and talk trash. That's what losers do, man. That's not us, and that's not me. So I support him in everything that he did, because the impossible task coming over here, learning a game that he's never played before against the most talented men in the world. These guys are freaks of nature here in the NFL. And it would be, the similar process if an NFL player went over to the world of rugby and tried to play at the international level. They would get rocked too, because it's two different modalities. They're trained in more of the endurance and well-rounded aspect, being a rugby athlete, whereas football is so much more of a specialized skill, position-based traits that you learn, and that takes years and years of practice, education, and training. We're built for explosiveness, speed, short, quick burst, very powerful, whereas rugby, you're more well-rounded, have endurance-based, and it's way different as far as the energy systems that are used. So I salute Louis Rees-Zammit for coming out and testing himself, and come from that approach of supporting him in a positive manner and wanted to see him do well in this endeavor. And It didn't work out for the Kansas City Chiefs, but the journey is not over. He still has a process to go through, and we're going to go break down the waivers and everything, how that all goes. We're going to look at the highlights and all that stuff. But that's what I want to set the table with first, and have an understanding that I support this man and love to see what he accomplished in such a short period of time. Because if you look at the numbers, I played American football my whole life. The dream would have been I would have laced it up and stepped on the field with one of these 32 NFL teams, but I didn't. You have to look at the stats. 99.9% of people who play football never get the chance to play in the NFL. This man comes over from a sport into the game he's never played, and he became one of the 0.01% athletes to lace it up and play downs on the field in the NFL for one of the 32 teams. How exceptional is that? That's mind-blowing exceptional. He surpassed anybody who has played football their entire life, the dreams, the vision of doing that exact thing, and he did it. So that's why I salute him, because I've gone through the system of football. I know how difficult it is to play college football. I made it to college football playing at the D2 level, and it would have been awesome to play in the NFL. I just was not talented enough, wasn't a smart enough player, and not big enough to really play the game. And for him to come over and do that speaks very highly of him. So that's just what I want to say. And I just want to give Louis Rees-Zammit a massive congratulations and say, you know, you inspired me and you inspired your nation and others to go out and test yourself, pushing you and stepping outside your comfort zone. I think it's a beautiful thing that you did. So I know it's not that you didn't make the team, and, you know, that is, what do they call, a failure? But I look at it as a win because of what you accomplished in such a short period of time. That is a task for anybody to try to overcome. But let's jump into this waiver process. I think this article did a fantastic job of breaking it down, simplifying it so we can understand a little bit better. So the website we're looking at is called AS, and I'm not sure what it stands for, but I have to give a shout out to them for doing a good job in breaking down exactly what this means. So NFL roster cuts 2024. What happens next for the players who did not make the cut? As NFL preseason ends, teams across the league make their final roster cuts to the 53-player limit. For many players, this time of the year is filled with uncertainty as it awaits the final call on their NFL futures. While some athletes achieve their dream of making the active roster, many others are left facing the harsh reality of being cut. For those who don't make the final roster, the journey isn't necessarily over. What options do players cut by their teams have? The first one is waivers and free agency. For players with fewer than 4 NFL seasons played, the first step after being cut is the waiver wire. When a player is placed on waivers, all 31 other teams have a 24-hour window to claim that player and add them to their 53-man roster. If a player goes unclaimed during the waiver period, they then become an unrestricted free agent. Players with 4 or more seasons bypass the waiver process altogether and immediately go to free agency, meaning they can be picked up by any team in the NFL. So they're continuing to work and develop and grow and have the potential of being put on the roster and being joined or having their contract picked up by another team. The next option is a practice squad. For many players who don't make the final roster, the practice squad offers a crucial lifeline. Each NFL team can maintain a practice squad of up to 16 players, providing those who didn't make the 53-man roster a chance to continue to impress the coaches. From this author, many of the best NFL players have come from the practice squad. And that's true. Players have gone to graduate through the practice squad because you're getting those valuable reps against other athletes and building up that IQ, building up that field time and awareness and experience, and that's huge. So hopefully he gets put on a roster, on a practice squad, but who knows? There's 16 spots available. And from my knowledge, although he went through the IPP program, which is the International Players Pathway, he got picked up through free agency, meaning that Kansas City already has an allotted international player on their system, which is a Nigerian player, I believe. And please correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but they already have that spot filled, which means it doesn't take up any roster spots. So LRZ is going through the process as a normal football player who gets released and has to go through all the free agency waivers and all that stuff. And please correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but that's what my understanding is of his position right now. The last thing we have is tryouts. The NFL is a league of constant change, with injuries, trades, performance issues regularly creating open openings on the roster throughout the season. Players who don't make the initial 53-man roster often stay in shape and continue training, ready to jump at the next opportunity. Then it goes on to say, being cut from the NFL roster is undoubtedly a difficult experience, but it doesn't have to be the end of a player's football journey. Whether through waivers, the practice squad, tryouts, or opportunities in other leagues, there are many paths forward for those that remain dedicated to making it to the pros. So this is not an end-all, be-all for LRZ. He's still going to continue to sharpen his skills, become a better football player, become smarter in the game, understanding the playbook, then learning the nuances of playing football. For him to do this in under 7 months is absolutely impressive, right? And it was a tall task to think that he would even make the 53-man roster, but for him to put his name on the line and give himself a shot, I'll salute anybody for that. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how he progresses and how he ends up, whether he gets picked up again on the practice squad for Kansas City or by another team. As far as another team picking him up, I do think it's a long shot because he's so green, and I'm not sure if a team is willing to use a practice spot for him when there are other players that already came through the college the college system, the grassroots system here in America, that are, you know, up and ready to go because they understand the game. So it's going to be a long shot, but you know, it's still on the table. So we'll see how it all pans out. You know, best wishes I'm sending to him either way. So what we're going to do next, we're going to take a look at his highlights from the Bears game. This is the third preseason game, which happened last weekend. And these are all the snaps from him in that match, and we're just going to kind of take a look and see how he progressed. This is my first time watching this, and it's given to us by NFL UK in Ireland, so shout out to them for posting this compilation of LRZ taking some snaps in the NFL. And we see the Bears are blowing the Chiefs out, but it's preseason, it's just about getting the reps in. So let's take a look. LRZ's back here and he's returning the kick. And I do have to say, these new kickoff rules are installed this year in the NFL. So I played with the traditional system, and I know how the special teams broke down when it came to marking players. This is completely different how they're starting this year. So I'm a newbie to how they're marking and setting up these special team formations, but I imagine it's the same. You're blocking the man in front of you, and if you want to run any special stunts or any blocking schemes, you can do that. But it is completely different than what I'm used to in growing up and playing. So he receives it. He does a great job finding the gap and going. Let me go back. What I like is how he just puts his foot in the ground and goes north and south. He just gets upfield. He's not going east and west, like playing sideline to sideline and moving around. He hits the hole, he finds the lane and gets yards. That's beautiful to see. I love what he did right here. See, he just finds the lane, goes straight, gets the yards he needs. That's what you want from a kick return. Great, solid play. He's the running back right now. Good handoff. Way to find it. Let me see him. Okay, so look at this lane's opened here. He does a good job hesitating, putting his hand on his center to create that space. This lane collapses where the defensive end has his outside shoulder free. Louis Rees-Zammit does a good job cutting back inside because the defensive end's position is to protect your outside. You're always taught as a defensive end to keep your outside shoulder free. That inside can be blocked where you're containing, but never let anybody outside. You want to push the running back inside. So Louis is forced to go inside. He does a good job identifying that lane. Runs directly into the defensive tackle, but he keeps driving his feet and gets good, valuable yards. Good for him. Hits the hole, puts his head down. Good run. I love that. Good run. Let's see that again. Looks like the A gap is open, or the one is open. Hits it hard. Gets the first down. That's all you can ask. That's a good run, man. He already looks more comfortable. Let me go back a little bit. He already looks more comfortable running than he did the first week. So they block down. He's cracking back, picking up anybody who comes through this lane right here. Yep, so he's going to block down. It's going to give this lane an opening. Lewis hits it hard, cuts to the outside to evade the linebacker. Does a good job. This defensive end or tackle sheds the block. It's a good run, man. What you can say? The vision, you know, comparing him to for like a normal NFL running back, that's good, man. Like, that's progression. That's progression even in that short period of time. He's clear and decisive, and he's hitting the lanes hard, putting his head down and finding valuable yards. It's great. You know what I'm saying? I know other players on this roster, especially the one he lost the battle to, they were able to have more impact plays and bigger plays than he did. But for a man coming out playing his third game ever in American football, salute to him. What can I say, man? I judge him based off of a rugby guy coming into football, not a lifelong football player. And so, you know, that's a hell of a curve to battle. But let's look at his final stats to end the season. So for this game against the Bears, he had 5.3 yards rushing, which is great. You're taught in football, you have you want to get, it's 10 yards per down. So you have 4 downs to gain 10 yards until you can score a touchdown. And so averaging 5 yards a carry is really good. You're taught to get 3 to 4 yards a run where you can just chip away and get to the next set of downs. And so a 5.3 average is good for that game. 21 yards rushing off of 4 attempts, 0 rushing touchdowns for this game. But overall, his entire preseason stats: 6 carries, 22 yards rushing, 0 touchdowns, 3.74 yards average, and he had 1 tackle, that tackle on special teams. And so it's not a mind-blowing stat line that he had this season, but from somebody who's never played the game, picking up where he's left off in rugby and coming to the NFL, that's a hell of a start, man. Playing against some of the top athletes in the entire world. They've been playing an entire life, dude. It's cool to see, man. So salute to Louis Rees-Zammit, and I'm hoping to hear some good news on him getting picked up to either a practice squad on the Chiefs or another team. So those are my thoughts, Qrew. I'm really excited for him, man. I think he's done a good job and set himself up on the right path to potentially getting a shot in the NFL. I know he had a 3-year contract initially, and that's the thing about the NFL. The contracts are not guaranteed, and there's so many intricacies to the contracts. That's why I say that business of the NFL is completely different than anything of the world of sports. And, they have their own way of doing things. So I'll never claim to be an expert of the inner workings and all the insider knowledge and things that happen, from the franchise standpoint and from the league standpoint. But just seeing what he's able to accomplish in this short period of time, man, my hat's off to him, man, because it has to be, one of the most daunting tasks to pick up a game you've never played, coming and leaving your country where you were an international superstar, playing in the World Cup, playing for the British Irish Lions, doing all these exceptional things in the world of rugby, and playing for his nation of Wales, and coming over and completely uprooting his life to come to America, moving here, picking up the new culture of living in Kansas City, playing a new game. It's just man, what a hell of a monumental task that he went through, but what a journey that he's on. And I just really applaud him for putting himself out there and taking the chance on himself, and not only inspiring up and coming kids to take a shot at their dream, but inspiring adults like myself. I'm 36, and this 23-year-old kid inspires me. I choose to be inspired by people. I love seeing people achieve their dreams, taking a chance, do well, because that's what it's all about, man. We're all here on our own hero's journey, and it's up to you to decide whether you're gonna take that call to your hero's journey and follow it. There's gonna be trials and tribulations throughout, and he currently is going through his tribulation right here within football, but that's what's going to make the beautiful story, right? Whether he sticks with the NFL or he goes back to the world of rugby, he accomplished so much in a short period of time and will continue to accomplish a lot. And I can just imagine the amount of knowledge, experience, friendships, and growth he's had in this short period of time. Those are lifelong memories and things that you can never take away from him. So I salute Louis and support him, and looking forward to seeing how things unfold for him in the future, whether he gets put on the practice squad or continuing to work out, train, and get ready for the upcoming season next year. But we'll see how it all plays out, Qrew. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I appreciate you being here as always. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below on Louis Rees-Zammit, and what you're excited to see for this upcoming season in the NFL and in the world of rugby. Do you think he's going to continue his path within the world of American football, or do you think he's going to go back in the world of rugby? I'd love to hear your thoughts, crew. Thank you so much for being here as always. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And in our descriptions below, drop into our Discord. We connect offline in our rugby pub, share conversations, family, food, talk about rugby, just connect and get to know each other on a deeper level, crew. Just drop in. I'll see you in there. Looking forward to chatting with you soon. I love you. I appreciate you. Always stay laser focused on your dreams and your vision, and remember that you're in control. Catch you on the next one. All right, peace.